welcome back to the Binging and Bickering podcast, episode 11, presented by CharacterTheory.com. He's Mike, I'm Dan, and we're recording literally a day after we just released last week's episode. So, like, don't outfit track me. I know I'm wearing, like, the same fucking outfit I wore, like, 2 episodes ago. It's, like, the end of
Did you wash?
It's the end of a wash cycle. Like, leave me alone. Like, this hit the wash immediately after the episode a couple weeks ago, and then now it's, like, back again, and I'm wearing it again. So, leave me alone. Don't outfit track me.
You are notorious for getting multiple days out of jeans.
Well, you don't wash jeans every time. Like, I haven't washed these jeans in, like, 2 weeks.
See, I don't know. Is that a thing?
Yeah.
That's a thing?
Because they don't, like, carry, like, smells. Unless, like, you puke or shit in them.
Well, that's regular for me.
Right. So, you might wash your jeans more often than others. But, I mean, like, if you don't, like, do anything to them. Like, even if I, like, go out. I think I've gone out to the bar in these jeans.
Okay.
Like, I hit them. Like, if they... Like, if they're not feeling, like, fresh, you can kind of hit them with some fabric Febreze, like, just to make them feel a little lighter. But, like, you're not supposed to wash jeans every time you wear them because, like, jeans are supposed to, like, get, like, worn in and worn out.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But we aren't talking about jeans.
No, we're talking about... we're bringing back another TV top 5. So one of the more popular genres in
Dream Team. I think our Dream
Team
Team is kind of
teams.
what we're labeling them as. Yeah.
So our TV dream teams of workplace shows. So I think one of the, I mean, a lot of shows take place in a workplace.
One of the staples of comedy TV for sure.
Comedy TV is definitely the biggest part, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a comedy.
Yeah.
But that is where, you know, you get your at least NBC shows. You have your Office, you have your Parks and Rec, you have your 30 Rock, you have, you know.
Never seen Superstore. I heard it's good. So if you're a Superstore fan, it won't appear on this, but I've heard it's good. I think Brooklyn Nine-Nine's on NBC now.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine is on NBC. It was on Fox. But there's plenty others. NBC just seems to be the king of them. Or queen. It's 2020.
Yeah, we're inclusive.
Yeah. But we're going to run through our dream team. So we're going to give our boss, our slacker / wise ass. I love the phrase wise ass.
Well, I got that from The Office because Dwight's describing Jim, and he's like, is he going to be a slacker, loser, wise ass like Jim? We tried our best to boil it down to 5. After that, we have Heartbreaker, which is kind of the romantic foil.
There's always kind of one of those.
Yeah, that's what kind of makes a good comedy. You need some heart.
Yeah.
Smarty Pants, which can be also an overachiever or kiss ass maybe, and then you got your Outcast, your wild cards like Creed Bratton or something. I'm sure that, you know, they could have been labeled different ways, but this is the best way we saw condensing it down to 5. So if we're putting together our ideal workplace, I guess, with using all the characters that have existed in this space, and that's what we're doing.
Yeah. Do you want to start?
I can, but I feel like Boss, we might be in similar territory. I'm curious. So I feel like with Office fans, if you don't pick Michael Scott, they'll skin you alive. And I love Steve Carell as Michael Scott, one of my favorite TV characters ever, no doubt. But I didn't go with him. I also thought about taking Uncle Pete from Louis C.K.'s Horace and Pete, but he's a little too racist and depressing for my liking. And I feel like with Michael, you know, like the buffoonery forces everyone else to work too hard. So if I was working for Michael, I feel like I'd actually have to do a lot of work.
Right.
So I didn't go with them. I'm between Ron Swanson from Parks and Rec, Nick Offerman, and Frank Reynolds.
Okay.
From Sunny.
Are you? Wait, I'm good. I have a different one. So
okay.
If you want to go with either one of those, go ahead.
I don't know that. Okay. I'll go with Frank because as much as I would
came to
love,
mind,
as
but I
much
didn't
as I
go
would
with him.
love to work for Ron, the same thing happens where a lot of his inefficiencies get dumped on other people's feet. With Frank, he's just running a sham. So with Frank, I'm probably working at a bar, he's laundering money, and we're out committing petty crimes.
He's cooking the books. Like, you don't have to, you know that, like, you're in a business that's not going to fail, like, no matter what. Like, he's going to finance whatever happens. So you don't necessarily have to work that hard when Frank's the boss.
I might
because
get
he'll
some,
just handle anything.
Yeah.
Unless he goes into his warthog persona. Then
Right,
you
that's
then
no good.
then you'd
That's
have
no
to
good.
work hard. But if it's just regular, like, Frank, who's gonna live in squalor, like, then you're.
I
Then you're
might get
good.
some supplemental money with him cooking the books, although I don't know if I trust him that much. But
You'd have to be his number 2, like Dennis. I feel like Dennis does get more money on the side than the rest of the gang does, because Dennis gets his, like, laser hair removal. Like, Dennis does all of these other
remember
things
the
that I feel
episode
like
he
are more
reveals that
expensive
he's
than-
been like fucking Frank over for years through Frankito.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm going with Frank. The least amount of work and probably the most adventures. I wouldn't say the most amount of fun, because you find yourself in fucking like court and in front of the law and having rivalries with people all the time. You got to squash your beefs. So I'll work for Frank. Frank's the boss of my
Okay.
dream team.
I'm gonna go Leslie Knope from
a great
Parks
pick.
and Rec. I just, like, yes, Michael Scott. Like, I get, like, Michael Scott is what comes to mind when you pick this. But over the last couple of years, like, you know, I mean, like, we were college students over the last couple of years, and I like, you know, The Office has taken over people's entire personalities. Like, I feel like people think it's a personality trait to like that show. And not that it's a bad show or anything like that. Like, you know, yes, The Office is great, but I think Parks and Rec, I feel like, has a lot more, like, heart to it. I really enjoy Leslie Knope. Like, I feel like has, like, the perfect energy for a boss. Like, yes, she has, like, her quirks and character flaws. Like, you know, she's, like, too positive, and, like, sometimes, like, her plan needs to be, like, the only way, like, things need to get done. But at the end of the day, like, things do get done in Pawnee, and, like, Leslie Knope, like, cares about her community and cares about her, like, her staff. And I feel like, you know, working in that department underneath Leslie Knope, like, she's, like, a great boss. And, like, she's not
She'll
like Michael
also do
Scott.
all your work.
Oh yeah, like,
She'll-
she needs to get stuff done so much so that she, like, takes it on her own plate. And anybody with any type of role or personality, like, fits into that Pawnee office, except for Jerry. So, you know, so
Even she shits on
I know, and
Jerry.
that's like, that's the thing. Like Jerry is such a great, like, I just love that show because, like, Jerry, Christy Brinkley's his wife, and he's got. It's like, what is keeping this guy together when he gets shit on at work? Like, he has to change his name. They start calling him a different
Gary.
name just because. Like, so, yeah, Leslie Knope, like, she's an awesome boss. Parks and Rec is compared to The Office, like, it's an underrated show. But I think it does get its own respect and whatnot. So, I gotta go with Parks and Rec here.
Great show, great choice. I'll go back to Jerry for a second. My favorite moment of the entire show, maybe it's one of my favorites, is Jerry retires and then he comes back and he's gonna work, like, part-time at the end of the episode, so they don't write him off and he stays on. And when they announce that he's coming back, he accidentally knocks over a computer. And Andy you hear Andy off screen laughing, and he just goes, "Classic new guy."
Not to mention, Parks and Rec created, like, or gave Chris Pratt,
Fat
like,
Pratt.
his start, and now Chris Pratt is, I mean, Star-Lord and one of the biggest stars on the planet right now. So, like, a lot of great things out of Parks and Rec.
Yeah, great choice. So we'll move on to your slacker loser wise ass. I can't pick Dennis. I want to diversify this a little bit.
I wanted to diversify as much as possible, but I do have 2 characters from the same show on my list just because it's hard and I love the show, so, like, I can't not. But, like, it's hard. I mean, TV, like, you stick to everybody has their own shows, and I feel like you have to be a little bit biased. But the reason we're doing a list is so we want to hear yours. You're going to hear ours. So, sound off in the comments. So we're going to keep rolling through ours.
Yeah. So I thought I wanted to go with Dennis so bad, but I'll pivot. Just know that I want to pick Dennis Reynolds because him and Frank together is fucking amazing.
I wanted to as well.
But I'm not. I'm not going to pick Dennis. I also love Jim. Doing some pranks with Frank and Jim would be a lot of fun, but Jim Halpert I'll also pass on. I almost went with Sterling Archer as well because the adventures with him would be even more fun. And he's a raging alcoholic.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go with Jake Peralta from Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Great pick as
because he'll keep us out of the courts. And so Jake's down to clown, to have a good time, for shenanigans and all that kind of fun stuff. But he'll keep us out of Johnny Law's hands. And I just love Andy Samberg is so fucking charming, and that role is perfect for him.
Wario cheats.
Yeah.
It's such a great show. He's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, I should have mentioned Raymond Holt for my boss honorable mention as well. Yeah. But yeah, I'll go with Jake Peralta from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. He's awesome. A lot of fun. He'll be my slacker wise ass.
Okay. Mine definitely goes into the slacker wise ass category. It's Sean Spencer from Psych.
I thought Psych would appear.
Yeah. So Psych is my favorite show of all time. And the heart of the show is at James Roday Rodriguez. His Sean Spencer is such a great character because he acts like a fucking child, and he tricks the Santa Barbara Police Department into thinking that he's a psychic detective, but really he's just ultra observant and is able to figure out and solve these crimes on his own. And by using pop culture references and being a smart ass when he was a slacker kind of his whole life, he finds his calling to solve all these crimes and be able to help out a bunch of people. But even though he does solve crimes and have to deal with like murderers and thieves and all of these other things, like he remains like such a smart ass, like always making a joke, always making a pop culture reference, always wanting to get food or something like that. Sean and Gus, his friend played by Dule Hill, like they're the best like TV friendship in my opinion, and I got to go with Sean for my slacker.
I actually feel between the pop culture references and smart ass quips that Jake Peralta and Sean Spencer would be
pretty similar,
really fucking funny together.
Yeah. And like working on that, like in the same like police department, I feel like that'd be. And to continue with NBC, Psych originally aired on USA, which the USA network is owned by NBC Universal. Okay. So like Psych kind of does fall into that NBC category. Like NBC is killing the game with these workplace shows.
So we're moving on to, we'll label it Heartbreaker, but they serve more of a purpose than that, more of our romantic foil. And I'm going to go with, I thought of Pam. I fucking love Pam. Might be my favorite character in The Office.
Pam is like the all-time like girl from The Office. Like she like obviously her and Jim's relationship in The Office is like, like people like on the people are always like, oh, I need to find my Jim or I need to find my Pam, because like that is like the TV relationship, at least in the modern era. So like Pam is like the office girl, because it's not just like Jim ends up with her, but like Toby has a crush on her secretly, and you find the thing out, and then she's married or she's engaged to Roy for like the first 3 seasons of the show, and Michael like has his moments with Pam where like he's just being nice to her, she's being nice to him, and he takes that the wrong way. Like they're like Pam like obviously is like the office girl where like several people have like crushes on her, and that's kind of like the type of character that these female characters always kind of have in these shows.
Right. And people always say The Office was never the same after Michael Scott. Everyone agrees, 100%.
Yeah.
But The only reason I think it remained watchable after was because Jenna Fisher was still there. You kind of cared about her and Jim's story to pull you to the end.
Yeah.
So I think that she's equally as important for getting it across the finish line, because it could have really took a dumpster dive if like what happened with Scrubs in the last season, all the main people attached to the show left. So it avoided doing that because I think she stuck around. Pam's a great choice, but I'm going to go with Lana Kane from Archer.
That's an awesome pick.
Who is, once again, she plays the love triangle role between Sterling Archer, the show's alcoholic spy main character, and Cyril, who's a total fucking geek dweeb. And just how she, like, they'll be on a mission like in the middle of a fucking gunfight, and she's in her bra and panties, like talking about her business downstairs, and she is just the perfect foul-mouthed strong woman to fit in with someone like Frank Reynolds running the show. And she'll stand up for herself more than Dee does and put Frank in his place. And
she's voiced by Rosario Dawson, right?
No, she's not.
She's not?
I actually want to look up who voices her because I fucking know it on my phone. But it's not. I can't remember her name.
Who's voiced by Rosario Dawson?
Is it Aisha Taylor or something like that?
Oh, it is Aisha Taylor.
Aisha Taylor. Yeah. She's great. And Lana Kane, awesome, badass character. And she, once again, like Jake Peralta, saves Frank from running the business into complete despair. But she'll play along, and she'll add to the crudeness and vileness of the group. So Lana Kane, that's who I'm going with.
Okay. Here's my repeat. I'm going Juliette O'Hara from Psych as well. And here's me putting my pitch out there as Psych being such an amazing show. Because Sean and Juliet's relationship builds so like perfectly. Like they have these moments in the show where it's like, I'd compare it to, at least from a film standpoint, like La La Land, like when Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone like are in like the planetarium, like watching the movie, and like they have this kind of like tense scene where like he wants to go like hold her hand, and like everybody like knows that kind of anxiety, like when you go out on a date with somebody for the first time and like you're kind of like unsure of like how to make a move. It's like, oh, do I like go to hold her hand? Do like I put my arm around her? Like, do I do these things? And like I feel like La La Land captured that perfectly. Psych does that perfectly throughout the show for Sean and Juliet. And you know, it's like, yeah, like a lot of shows do it, but like Psych is such an awesome fucking show, and I feel like it does have like this cult following online, but like it's such an awesome show, and like I would put Sean and Juliet's relationship well above Jim and Pam's. I think Jim and Pam is overrated.
Any reasoning why?
Well, like those moments between Sean and Juliet are great, but I also just think like their chemistry on screen just like makes sense. It's like the very first like episode where she's introduced is the second episode of the show, and like Sean like right out of the gate like tries like flirting with her and stuff, and then like she's the one who like denies it at first and is like, no, like I'm not gonna date that guy because like he comes on too strong, he's making too many pop culture references, and then like like she thinks he's like too much of a child. But then he ends up being like an incredible like detective, and she's impressed by just how like genuine he is and like caring about police work. And it builds like the Psych show is 8 seasons long, and I think they get together by season 6.
Okay,
it does take a while, but like I think like the season finale of like 4, like she tries to ask him out, but then like he's like, you couldn't have worse timing. Like he was about to like go out with this other girl who he had like for him was like the one that got away, so like he sees her for a whole season, and then by 6 like they do get together. So like there's a lot of like awesome like tension of like, oh, like no, like they're supposed to be together, but then they're not, because like Sean's not ready at one point, and then Juliet's not ready at another point. It's just great. I love it.
I think going back to Jim and Pam, them building up to being married is, I think, like untouchable. But
Yeah.
there's a thing that goes around the internet. When Jim and Pam get married, people think they turn into kind of elitist assholes around the rest of the office, and it's kind of fucking true.
Yeah.
So I would never call Jim and Pam's relationship overrated. I love it. It might be my favorite in television history. I don't know. But I respect the pick, but them leading up to being married through the Niagara sequence, all great. I just wanted to touch upon that.
I just think that, like, you know,
Jake and Amy in Brooklyn
like,
Nine-Nine, also great.
Like, I get why, you know, like, yeah, like, it's not overrated because it is, like, properly rated. Like, yes, it is, like, the TV relationship. Like, I get that. I just think there are so many other ones that it's, like, where, like, the moments between them are so kind of, like, you know, just as sweet or, like, even sweeter than some of the moments between Jim and... I think Jim, like, cutting his tie is fucking dumb. Like, people are like, oh, that's so cute. She had a little tear in his dress, and he makes himself look like an asshole.
I like it.
No, like, you're not going to see the little tear in her veil for the pictures for the rest of time. You're always going to look at your wedding picture for the rest of time, and you're going to be like, oh, what did I do
love when his brother goes, wear a tie much? After that on stage. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
We'll move on, though.
Yeah.
So we got Lana Kane and what's her name again?
Juliette O'Hara.
Juliette O'Hara. Okay. So we're moving on to our, like, Smarty Pants, Overachiever, maybe Kiss Ass. I was originally gonna say Leslie Knope.
Okay.
But I'll mix up the list a little bit. The only reason I wasn't gonna say her as a boss is because Ron is her boss, I guess, but she's also a boss of the Parks and Rec department as well.
Yeah.
Anyway, I almost went with Amy Santiago as well from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Great, that would have been a great pick. But I'll go with fucking Dwight.
Okay.
Because I feel like Dwight and Frank would just have some amazing interactions. And the more I'm thinking about it, the more work actually gets done in this faux workplace I'm setting up, because Dwight diligently works. Lana Kane's good at her job, and Jake Peralta is good at his job. He's just a fucking idiot. Jake and Dwight would absolutely hate each other. So you have a bit of a Jim in there with the prank calling.
I think like, Dwight wouldn't question too much into Frank's, like,
could you imagine,
dealings,
like, Dwight
because Dwight would kiss Frank's ass.
Frank's
and,
like, we gotta. What's one of Frank's schemes? Frank's like, we gotta launder this money, and Dwight's like going out of his way to, like, shake people down for, like, racketeering and intimidation or something like that.
Wearing a pumpkin head.
Yeah. I had to have The Office on here somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm wearing the goddamn shirt.
Yeah.
So I'll go with Rainn Wilson for Dwight Schrute. Just fantastic.
I have an honorable mention here. My honorable mention is Erlich Bachman from Silicon Valley.
Great choice.
TJ Miller as Erlich Bachman is just such an incredible character, and, like, I loved Silicon Valley, like, start to finish, and, like, I think the criticisms of the show are quite valid as the show kind of lasted,
for being repetitious.
As the show lasted longer, the seasons kind of continued to follow the same type of formula, so much so that even speculated into TJ Miller exiting the show as Erlich Bachman. I really love the way Silicon Valley wrapped up, but there is a hole in the last 2 seasons of the show without Erlich, and it's because TJ Miller's smart-ass, stoner, douchebag, fat-headed, like, ego of a character, like, it like, is just absolutely fantastic, and, like, he kind of is like what, because the show is about, like, tech nerds in Silicon Valley trying to make a company happen, and, like, it doesn't happen without Erlich, and I feel like because he doesn't, like, he fits in Silicon Valley because he doesn't fit.
Right.
And that's why he's such an amazing character.
One of the best lines in the entire show is when he talks to Gavin Belson and he goes, I'm Ehrlich Bachman, creator of Aviato. This is Big Head. He lives in my incubator. And Gavin goes, I don't know what any of that means.
Gavin Belson is an incredible character as well. He turned like his arc as a character in that whole show is really fucking funny. And also Ehrlich says, you just brought piss to a shit fight.
Or when he takes mushrooms in the desert.
Yeah, he's like, we need a vision. He's like, we need to go on a vision quest. But I'm not picking Ehrlich. I'm actually gonna go with Cliff from Cheers, and he's played by John Ratzenberger.
He's so funny.
Cliff is like he. You know, like, yeah, he kind of has, like, these wise kind of, like, observational moments for Sam Malone's bar, you know, and he has, like, episodes that are kind of, like, based around him and everything like that. But the reason why, like, Cliff is an awesome character is because, like, he always has, like, the answer for something even if he's not right. And I feel like that's kind of like a perfect smart-ass character. Like, he's got advice for something and he always has an opinion on something, whether he's right or wrong. Like, he's going to stick to his opinion. And that is why Pixar made him the voice of Ham. And, like, I haven't watched Cheers from start to finish. I've wanted to. Like, I'm like 2.5 seasons in. I've just watched it here and there. It's an awesome show. Like, Cheers is an awesome show.
My parents are big fans.
But like Cliff is a great character, and I just love like his like everything about him. You know, John Ratzenberger's voice is great. But like. I like that he has an opinion on something, whether he's right or wrong. Like Cliff is just going to say it. So Cliff is my smart-ass character.
I like that because it's very out of the norm of what we've been talking about because we've been hitting the most recent ones that are very famous. I think MASH would probably fall in as well to this category.
Yeah.
A show I haven't seen, but another one my dad's a big fan of.
Alan Alda's great in that.
Yes. Almost as good as Uncle Pete and
Yeah.
Horace and Pete. But our last category is your wild card or outcast. We touched upon Ehrlich. That's actually who I had.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But he again, we talked, there might be some overlap in some of these. Like you said, he's a bit of an outsider in Silicon Valley. That's why I went with him. And once again, with this fucking ragtag of people I've assembled, the amount of drugs that Frank and Ehrlich would be doing together would be insane. Like,
I just love that,
like every episode of Silicon Valley is you basically see Ehrlich hitting a bong, and on almost every episode of fucking Sunny, you see Frank doing fucking blow. So it's like
Ehrlich. Ehrlich just like one episode he like wears a Steve Jobs outfit and like he has his hair up and he's just like holding a bomb.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, man. What are you doing?
It's very interesting too because I have 2 law enforcement people in this workplace environment, and
but
Ehrlich and Frank are just doing drugs.
Yeah, you're just part of it. Like Jake Peralta would have to be a like a dirty.
Frank could be like. Also, I just thought of this. The nice thing with having Dwight and Frank is Dwight's a great number 2.
Yeah.
And Frank would like force him to do drugs. If you want to be my assistant, you got to do this heroin or something.
He's like, can you get me one of them bobbleheads? Bobbleheads are badass.
Yeah, it's like the egg. He'd go around selling it to other bars. It's a jumping off point.
Wolf Cola.
I had Ehrlich.
Ehrlich would be able to sell Wolf Cola really well too.
He would. So I had Ehrlich. I'll say that. I also mentioned Russ Hanneman, who is another character from Silicon Valley,
character.
Big time outcast and wild card. A lot of business savvy and connections for Frank. Where's that fucking kid?
Damn it! Am I at the wrong school again?
He's gonna peel out. Move out of the way. I mentioned Russ as well. Are you going with Creed?
I'm going with Creed. My honorable mention here, like I didn't want to double up twice, but Jared is one of my favorite characters in Silicon Valley because like he seems like this goody two shoes guy, but really he like is like this creepy, like got raised really poorly and like could be a serial killer.
This
and
guy fucks.
he has these moments where like he like freaks the fuck out, and like he'd be an awesome assistant to have as well. You know, like looking back on it, like if I did like my TV mob, like if I weren't doing Smithers, I'd probably do Jared. But I'm going Creed because Creed is like my favorite character from The Office, and like he, you know, and I didn't have an Office character on my list yet. But like Creed is the wild card, and the thing about Creed that's just so amazing is that all of his lines are fucking memorable. And it's because he's so weird. Like he's this old dude that is just so mysterious, and like he does all these weird fucking things. Like and then he ends up being like a fucking vicious like murderer. Like
I think he's a drug peddler or something like that.
Like,
but there's also references to murder
like
as well.
He is like he's got blood. Like he gets like he is like a drug peddling murderer, and like but he inserts himself into this office in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and like that is wild card. And like the thing about like even like the whole persona of Creed Bratton, the actor whose name is Creed Bratton, like that's not his real name. He was like a member of a band, and he still is. But like back like in like the 70s, like this guy like tripped out so bad and like blacked out that he woke up, like found like an ID that said Creed Bratton, and he just went with that name, and he's been like Creed Bratton ever since. Like that's wild. Like guy. The whole like human behind, like obviously like the human behind him isn't like actually like, you know, like a drug peddling killer like his character is, but like I just love like everything about Creed Bratton. Like that is wild card. He's my favorite character in The Office. I love the strike, scream, and run moment where he fucking hits Meredith in the back of the head. I love the best
CPR?
the best 2 minutes in television. The fucking CPR scene where he goes, "You were in the parking lot earlier. That's how I know you." Like it has nothing to do with the rest of the fucking scene or show. And he just blurts that out.
Do you remember when he becomes boss?
Bo Body.
Bo Body's fun, and they're doing acronyms, and Kevin's like, business, and he's like, I like it, and he misspells business. And Pam's like, we need a new manager. But also he brings in the new receptionist to the office, and he's like, find out what language this is. And like, that's the scene. That's it.
And when he uses the printer ink to make his hair black, also when he says, "Jim, I live down by the quarry too. We should hang out so we can throw things down there."
The Taliban are the worst. Great heroine though. He's the ultimate outcast.
Yeah.
He was on my list, of course.
Yeah.
Creed Bratton.
But
we didn't mention Andy Dwyer either. Where would he go? He'd probably be an outcast too.
He could be an overachiever though.
No. Andy shines shoes. And he's not a smarty pants. He's a dingus.
Yeah.
But
you want to know? Yeah, I forgot that we were talking about
Donna Meagle's also a little bit of like a wild card as well. She's great. So many great. That's what's these workplace comedies. That's why they work so well. Is it's not just one character.
Right.
It's the entire cast. That's why so many of them reappear throughout our list.
Yeah. And it's modern television, and we kind of watch and like the same kind of shows. So this is a perfect episode. We're done.
Yeah, we're out.
Be sure to like, subscribe, comment. This is like an episode where commenting is really the most important part. Subscribing actually is the most important part, so you guys can get more content like this. But commenting, because these lists can go anywhere. I mean, like Ehrlich fit in a completely different category as a runner-up
Yeah.
for me than he did for you, and that's the interesting parts about these lists. So what we need you guys to do is to comment below on our YouTube page. You can still leave comments on our audio version as well on SoundCloud and iTunes. When you rate on there, you can write comments underneath. So we want to hear your workplace TV dream teams. You heard ours. We hope you enjoyed it, and we'd love to hear from you guys. This is a big response week. We want to see those subscriber numbers up for both audio and video, and this is a big week for it.
Yeah. I think you covered all the bases. I want to add one thing. I did not talk about Mad Men, one of the greatest shows ever. So
I've yet to watch it.
It did not appear on my list, but I didn't forget about you. I just tried to keep it comedic.
John Hamm.
John Hamm, Christina Hendricks. So that's where we'll leave off.
Yeah. Keep watching movies. Keep watching TV. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes. We're on all of them. Give a like to our Facebook page, too, because we're on there. Just look up Binging and Bickering on Facebook. And until next episode, we'll catch you guys later.
See ya.